Today on Hurtbox's Arcade Corner, we're going to be taking a look at the Gamer Fingers HBSF 30mm push buttons from a new corner of the room. But first, we're going to talk about something that's just as important, the merch store. Go on to the link down below and you can pick yourself up some fine t-shirts and hoodies. Artwork done by Deeb's Nuts on a couple of them. There's the MK Cross UGIF, or the MK Cross Tekken limited edition electric shirt. That one I designed myself. It's got a transparent background as well as one that fades from red to yellow. There's also the Do an Electric t-shirt, and you can pick up things like the Electric Squad hoodie and t-shirt, along with some other merchandise stuff in the future, as well as a cup. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff. So head on to the link down below, and if you purchase a shirt while we're streaming on Twitch, it will notify us so that we can thank you live in person. Every purchase helps support the channel, and I hope you'll choose one of our t-shirts. So, this is a new area that I decided to clean up and film in. This is kind of like the editing side of the room. The other side you see is typically reserved for the arcade stick big reviews, and I realized that I didn't want to have to set up my table and set up all the lights and stuff in that particular corner when doing videos as small as this one, like levers, push buttons, etc. So I decided to relegate this area to things like lever reviews, button reviews, and other smaller projects, as well as to kind of break up the monotony of having similar looking videos for all of my reviews. All the arcade stick reviews have been in that other corner, as well as in the last studio room. They were all in that corner with all the arcade sticks in the background. So I thought I would just break it up by doing it this way. So we're going to be taking a look at the Gamer Fingers HBSF 30mm buttons. They're mechanical push buttons that use MX switches, which we've reviewed a couple of those in the past, namely the Crown SDB 202s. And we're going to compare the 30mm, the HBSFs that are in here, to, well, those buttons and the razors, since they're the only two direct comparisons that I really have at the moment. So I remember Gamer Fingers back in the day when I believe they were the ones that kickstarted their push button idea for this, and it got funded. And I remember that it was like a first generation or a couple generations where I heard people didn't like them. You know, there was I think Gutex on one of the cross counter episodes didn't like the buttons or something like that. But either way, they've gone through a few revisions, and I'm glad to say that I enjoy the buttons a lot. They're really good. This is coming from a person who just converted over recently to MX Switch push buttons. So how are they different from the Crown? Well, for one, I mean, the design of them, as you can tell, they have a hexagonal, however you pronounce that, it's a hexagon instead of your traditional circular housing that you typically see in pretty much every arcade stick that's ever been invented. That's one thing that I like, is that it kind of breaks up, again, the monotony. It's a different layout, or it's a different design, so it stands out. At least to me, it stands out. And I've been seeing so many people playing on these Gamer Fingers buttons, so I think people are actually really like them. I have friends and people that I meet that are fans of the channel that use Gamer Fingers. I've been recommended them several times, and I decided to just go out and buy some to try out for the video. The other things I like is that it is a durable design. It seems like very solid injection molded plastic. At least I believe it's injection molded, considering what I've learned about injection molding in the past couple of weeks. So on the design front, it's pretty sturdy. I do like the way that it screws in. I opted for the screw-in versions of the HBSFs, mainly because I'm getting tired of snap-in push buttons. The reason I am is because I've got a couple of drones that I'm working on for projects and stuff. Thank you, Kwanba. As well as taking like Sanwa buttons out of a lot of these sticks that I have. I have never seen so many tabs break on me. It seems like the plastic is just getting cheaper and getting weaker. So I don't understand why the tabs break on these snap-in buttons, but I am starting to really dislike them. And unless there's a product that really only has a snap-in version, I will be getting the screw-in buttons and what have you from now on. If you're gonna be replacing buttons, unless it's a Vuelix layout that doesn't accommodate screw-in type buttons, don't bother. They will just break, especially the metallic series. I should make this a rant later on, shouldn't I? So let's go, getting back to the HBSF 30mm buttons. So what I like about them is that their design is, I believe, a lot more convenient than the Crown SDB 202s. And what I mean by that is that the way that it's assembled, it doesn't fall apart on you. When I was opening up the Crowns in order to switch out the speed silvers that were in there I tried box reds and I tried some other stuff. I eventually settled on blues. Is that once you take the micro switch out, it falls apart. All the internals come out and all the little quick disconnect leads, they come out. This one is not the case. They are pretty well built in. They're stuck in there. I don't see them ever coming out. And that's what I like, is that I can switch things out relatively easily. And it's a lot easier to assemble than what you would get from like a Crown 202, SDB 202. And this is because it comes in essentially 4 different pieces. The assembly is very easy. It's 3 pieces if you went with the snap-in, like, you know, some other people I've seen have done. I have 4 because it's a screw-in. So you have 4 different parts that make up your gamer fingers buttons, like for me. You have the nut, the lug nut, I don't know what you call the screw-in part, the one that connects it to the housing, or connects the housing to the stick, whatever. You have the body, or the housing. You have the micro switch, MX switch, and you have the plunger. So assembling it is pretty simple. You take the micro switch and lining up the 2 leads that come out of the MX switch, you would line it up with the 2 slots that are inside of the housing and snap it into place. I like to push it from the corners. You can push it from the center as well. Just make sure once you hear a click or a snap, it's in there. You don't need to push anymore. After that is another thing that I really like that it does better than any of the push buttons that I've seen on the market. Because these things snug in, they securely snug into the actual MX switch, the way the plungers go in, they don't require tabs that connect to the housing. This is something that it does better than Crown, than Seimitsu, than Sanwa. None of the others can really do that. It's not the case here, where with gamer fingers, you just push it in and there you go. If you want to remove the MX switch for new ones, simply locate an Allen key or some sort of screwdriver bit that is flat and is small enough to fit through the hole that's at the bottom of the HBSF button. You just push on it and there you go. The micro switch and the plunger will come out, separate the 2, and then push in another one of your desired micro switches or MX switches and you're good to go. The last thing you'd really have to do is just screw it in or snap it in and then plug in your quick disconnects. Now for me, I decided to go with Pro Purples because I tried Speed Silvers and there's really not much of a difference between that and the Crowns. I also have other ones that I tried. There's browns, blues, Kale Box reds. I believe I said reds already, Speed Silver, and then the purples. But really, I just went with the purples. It is a virtually silent design. It comes with a silent foam pad that goes around that lines the inside where the plunger actually contacts the button or contacts the housing. And it's sort of similar to the Generation 1 silent Sanwa buttons. It's not as quiet, but it is relatively quiet. You can push it and you don't get the loud clack clack that you would normally get from your typical arcade stick. It's loud. The Crowns are louder by a long shot. They're definitely louder. They're quieter than normal operating buttons, but the gamer fingers are probably the quietest ones compared to the Sanwa Silent Generation 1, and probably on par, maybe a little bit louder than the Generation 2 Silent Sanwas. I have those for another video. That's for another time. So now that's pretty much all the good things that I like about it. It operates well, it plays well. With the Pro Purples, I like them a lot. They're good with Speed Silvers, they're good with blues. The only micro switches that I think I have issues with, I keep calling them micro switches, they're MX switches. MX, boy. With the MX switches, there's some compatibility issues I found with the box series, the Kale box MX switches. I tried some Kale box reds, and sadly, this is a downside to the crown as well. They don't work very well with the Kale box reds. For one of the leads I think is shorter than what you typically get on a MX switch, so any kind of inputs is varied. I couldn't consistently get them to work on either. A lot of inputs wouldn't come out, and you'd have to move things around to try and get it to contact one of the leads. So I feel that it is because the box series just has one shorter lead than the other, it can't make a proper connection with your quick disconnects and send an input. The other issue, which is exclusively gamer fingers, is that when I first installed, and you'll see this in the B-roll, when I installed the Kale box reds into these things, the plunger has to go in relatively snug onto it because it's got a little box on the outside of where the plunger contacts the micro switch. And fanning, so doing this little number here that you would do in like Street Fighter, or I do this in DOA when I want to get Akira's knee to come out, the just frame knee. That causes the button to pop out of the housing. Like, it comes out with the plunger, it just pops out, so it's like, hey, if you messed up, it pops out, and you can just go ahead and toss those in the trash and put in something like the Pro Purples. I don't have that issue with any other button. I've tried silvers, blues, browns, the purples that are in there, and I've fanned the buttons a ton. I've been doing this a ton to them, and they don't come out. So, unfortunately, it seems like the only way you're going to get box reds is if you want to actually solder them onto a PCB. Unfortunate, but hey, that's the world we live in. The other disappointing thing that I have to say, and it's not about the buttons, it's more or less the design. I like things to look cool, okay? I like things to look snazzy. As you saw, I spent a lot of money on crown buttons just to get the purple and the metallic silver, like the reflective silver plungers. I wanted to go for something really cool looking. The thing that I don't like, and I hope Gamer Fingers, they see this and they take this into consideration. You need more colors. You need more colors and variation for your push buttons. I would love to see more than what they have currently, which is for the housing, a crystal, a smoky black, a regular black, and a white housing. And then when it comes to the actual plungers, they have, you know, the crystal, the see-through, white, black, the smoky black, and then they have the transparent versions for like blue, red, green, yellow, and some other ones. You know, the smoky one, of course. They have the artwork caps where they separate and you can put artwork under and then snap it back in. Those are actually really nice. That's what's in there right now. And this is something that I really want to see them change. I want to see new colors, and I want to see something like a metallic series. If you could do something like gunmetal gray, gold, and silver, like they have, like Crown and Sanwa have done, that would be incredible. So, sadly, that's really one of the biggest downside to me. The whole not being able to support Kale box reds is really a non-issue, but it's really disappointing that there isn't that big of a color choice. You're only really relegated to just basic colors. I would love to see solid and see-through plungers and housings that have a variety of different colors, like their other competitors, Crown, Sanwa, and Seimitsu. So now with all of that out of the way, we're going to go ahead and take a look at some gameplay, and then we're going to come back and I'm going to give you some basically final thoughts. I would recommend these. These are a very good, but they are very good buttons. They're good at what they do, and if you're looking to switch out your Sanwa or Seimitsus or whatever for new buttons, definitely take a look at Gamer Fingers. They're a little bit pricey, but to be fair, the crowns are also a little bit pricey. So Gamer Fingers might be a little bit more, but you're getting more design features. You're getting sturdier design. You're getting easier access to swapping out things should you choose to go with different micro switches. And if you're like me, who ordered just the housing and the plungers without micro switches, and you have a bunch of them at home laying around, then, you know, you save a buck. You save a little bit, and, you know, you're getting them for a little bit cheaper. So, honestly, go and pick up these buttons. They're great buttons. I hope to see more variety out of them, like I said. If that's your thing, if you don't like the standard selection of caps and housings and whatnot that they have, then it might not be for you. But for me, I did make a little bit of a compromise of having the white and whatever. Maybe I'll spray paint them or something to get them to look different. But honestly, I can say 100% that if you're interested, you should go ahead and pick up these buttons. Thank you everybody for watching the video. If you liked it, you can like it. If you disliked it, you know what to do. You can follow me over on Twitter where I shitpost basically. You can subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification, and you'll get to see a bunch of new videos as they come up. Evo's right around the corner. It's a couple of weeks away, and I want to get a bunch of videos done. The one thing that I would like to say is that I will be doing a giveaway in a couple more videos that come out, probably on Wednesday's video if I get it out on Wednesday. There should be something for you guys that'll be interesting. I know you guys will love what I have in store. So go ahead and keep notified, because that bell icon will notify you about that, because it's going to be a pretty big giveaway for me. And of course, you can subscribe. You can subscribe over on Twitch if you want to support us that way. We have a Patreon where you can give like $1 a month, and it helps support the production costs. Follow us over on Twitter. Follow us on Twitch subscription. You know, you can watch us over there. It helps us. And yeah, share the video and comment. So with that out of the way, I'm Dan. This is HurtboxTV, and thank you for watching the video. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.